no one finds him on Fambra.
In some pika when you are the best from Don Shrebako, you never na etna. As Rana Yadema KASE3 Ghana Limited, so pass as Yaman Swinno, and Kratasem Bibia Dimono, a KASE3 no so do any tremo. Ufri cry, Equisita Malay once I say, a woman of an baby. The audio fu, the audi sidine for any 2 years soon is sika, which any boomakas, Emma Quina, Mauchan Kakra. Whenever bounce, which we announce what an assassin ra. When a cast ending como, it was 0302 963 740 0302 963 740. Now on the KASE3 Ghana Limited any incomo. And you may call Pina account Kelele no one making a debate shame ye call in a nemono. Now by day for I had a parent for no. A diameter so any ejamintamini.
Jumaindosa.
I feel in some per and a major na yemunremu.
Mothers FM. Yes, some pa.
Yes, I'm not seeing His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Akachi, or yeah, in some trouble in Shemu Kitwe be abra. TRT word for a ban in chain and no ebedi and common. Now in common nefa baby echo 5 me good year 2 who ewa my Ghana mu. And on His Excellency edit 2 is some trouble in him say. If we good year 20 day abain 2 1 and more papa see a bit 2 year na fe me ebu hon konta. Or say na no bi ana etwemon ye 2 a good year who ye de nam kuntura sekode near the Kobe man so na yakoton. Yentimi mu hon konta free say gold board e ba ye ne de. A good year ye tuning na and I'm good board for some na ko obi man so na ye hwe large scale to say Newmont Ghana and go da santi no money adea o magudi o mutu na hon kontabuo ne de ekoyie pepepe na mo mafu magudi ne nketua mu no small scale mining no ehwo na ye na nkontabuo na ibibia wo hon so na gold ndodo na timifa contract se ko obi man so e ba ne sane de ka na abeto ye so na prepare abaye san hyehyɛ ndi gold board ba ya o ye ya ne ayere wakwa o ye ya ne ayere wakwa ne de ama gold ne ton ne hunkunta ne ekoyi eno so kan obi ama dollar no enya nan bi ejina so
leverage especially if we're able to formalize the gold production. We have the large scale mines that are transparent. We know what is happening. We know we supervise the mining. We know how much they are shipping out. But we also have the informal, artisanal and small scale mining. That is where we've had the most difficulty, but we're formalizing it now. And so we're giving them licenses and then we're supervising them better. But we're buying the gold off them before it used to be smuggled out by anybody. We're buying the gold off them. And that took production from 64 tons in 2024 to 104 tons and brought $10.8 billion into the economy. But we're going one step beyond just exporting the raw gold. We have 2 refineries currently operating in Ghana, the Gold Coast Refinery and Royal Ghana Gold. And we are refining that gold before export. It's part of the whole value addition policy that I told you about.
Mothers FM, yes, some pa.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na yatene kanu afe yenyina nsensem yemwen na African Mindset Research Forum akoso na ebibremu akanifo twotworo ne abojesefo ene kohyia ya omodwen kwankron betimi afa so a yebedwene adwenepa afa ebibremu ho na ne mpuntuo ene ne nkankro ne so ewie peye na President Africa School of Governance Ora Francis Gatari editor jase ohwe forum na sane obi ade ne ho ahyem so yenhye yeni nkomo yensa sa yadwen ne yamwa bebiman enkonkan na otumi sa ade ne beye ne yakoso aka ne titiro ne mebru no emebru na adwene sesa yaku enim no ne yama besesa ama ebibiman.
This interest demonstrates a shared urgency, especially among the young people, for needed mindset reset to accelerate Africa's transformation. But at the outset, allow me to speak to the origins of the African School of Governance, because that's where it all starts. But let me say this. They had a conviction that Africa neither lacks ambition nor the resources or talent, but rather the right leadership mindset required to build institutions and cultivate habits for execution and results focus. The African School of Governance was therefore conceived as a Pan-African school for leadership, public policy and management, with the singular objective to create a new generation of ethical, African leaders with a transformative mindset, confident and committed to the pursuit of excellence, and committed also to the purpose of public service.
Enya etwegu ye president Emma Africa School of Governance Ora Francis Katari na yetene nkanano echi na Rwanda mampenyi ono so co-founder ma Africa School of Governance no Ora Paul Kagame or the atudwa se ebi mindful ye trust ni ebi say questions bebre say free say agi fa hodi aman hodo jom fa hodie no prayer pray ye nkan kro no e de besim pempenso yi say na ekọ ewo mu say yehia how bebre de na nhebeka say yara na yara ne kire say yanyere ye ho na yenye ne ye.
The mindset reset, we should be questioning ourselves really and seriously, because if we look back in history for a number of years, Africa has gone through so many challenges and Africa has made progress in many areas. There's no question about it. Where our Africa was 50 years ago and the thinking, it's not where Africa is today. Africa has made much progress, fallen short on many things, evidently, or failed here and there, but I think there's very good progress. And the most complex problem we have to face is, having heard from the leaders who spoke earlier, it seems Africa has everything in place to succeed. It really does. It does. It has people, it has resources, it has the history that we have or should have learned a lot of lessons from. But looking back again, every day there are discussions about our continent, whether at the African Union or in other settings, and sometimes ourselves discussing and sometimes other people discussing.
His Excellency Paul Kagame na yatene kan Rwanda mrashe Rwanda mampenyi eno no na ne krakra mu no na Vice President Professor Jenana Opoku Ajimai enso editudwa se ohwe ebibremu a ye wonhye bebre ye betimi aboa ama yenkan kro no ewie peye nanso akasa ye besesa ya adwene o se ye mu nkompo kakra no yenhwe yechi yenhwe yabakwasem yehwe yabakwasem a ebehu bebi ye free ene bebi a ye kọ na no beboa yen ama yetima yenhye papa ebeboa ye na niema etimi akonkan we eyenhye mukunini a Africa School of Governance amampanyifo we bibrem kosiaye na wodwendwene ebibrem ho.
Mothers FM, yes, sompa.
Yaho na parliament so kwa akwama na de ho na mpanyimfo nya ne nkrata wo chede sesiara no oyaza oda wotumo bebe pie mu mbrehye beje fie mu na ensem bia ogu ho wotumo bobo hu na wopɛ ne pomasibre na wei na mbrehye beje kasa manfo oya agban babi ozen nkrata sam to wonda ochese Ghana mampanyi na ohye nde wombra na wombetena ase onam de nzaba bebre ho da wotumo ototo biti de veti na aze no wotumo hwe mani nara otum okwankan ansa na obaba na se webezi honi dwuma wetum wezi na wei no nam do emambrehye bedwen ze matolon Alhaji Habib Idrisu no so gina ho chede hwane na otodo oye ya na no ya za sesiara no waka engineer gu nti gina do srempanyimfo ka wapene ho asampa de trenkrofo afesi oya za chede oya za ahine yem yeyi ankasa nti osren yankopon no ho banbo ezema no sende dagbon traditional area ni na wen na aze etum ato hone nyuma nti Habib Idrisu ne sambia ozitu gwani.
Mr. Speaker, I rise with a heavy heart, a spirit burdened with a deep sorrow to inform this august house of an irreplaceable loss that has befallen this nation, our region, and my constituency. It is with the deepest regret that I announce the passing of our giant, a patriot, a father, His Royal Highness, retired Major Suleimana, the paramount chief of Tolong traditional area. Mr. Speaker, Ghana have lost a man. The people of Tolong have lost their protector. And Mr. Speaker, I have lost a mentor, a guardian, and a pillar of my development. Mr. Speaker, the news of his passing strike me like a tender, leaving a hole that I fear will take years to fill. It is a loss that goes beyond the boundaries of our traditional area and touches every soul of this nation. Mr. Speaker, we are not just mourning a chief, we are mourning a soldier, an officer who rules the uniform of the Ghana Armed Forces, a senior officer at the military to the rank of a major, born in 1943. For his conviction, Mr. Speaker, he paid a heavy price. In 1972, he was forced into exile by the PNDC government.
Honorable Shaibu Habib Northern Sambi Habib Idrisu and Northern Sambi Atuga Oneshi no so chairman Zema Parliament Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee Honorable Alhaji Lawyer Shaibu Mohammed no so yaza Sambi to go chede Tolon hin no oye Suleiman Abukari no so yaza away from na nifna away from yaza oye ankasa osende on him pon away from na afis on yon hin kwade mmom no oye military so oye soje no ya sra nyi na chede Tolon hono no yaza on hin ni dwumeze ozi no oyaza obebra ankasa ntese aren po efimi no oyaza timemfo wo su na wo gbebi na de oyaza wa hwe nyimpa anade titiri ye ankasa.
I'm exceedingly grateful for the opportunity to say a few words of the late Tolona. Let me thank my brother, the honor for Tolong, for this beautiful statement of a king, a chief who has unified many people, not just the people of Dagbon, but indeed the entire northern sector. Indeed, Speaker, the late chief's father was also the paramount chief of Tolong traditional area. Indeed, at the time his father was paramount chief, my father was also paramount chief of the Wasipe, that's the Daboya traditional area. And these two paramount chiefs were so close, Mr. Speaker. Never mind that the two constituencies will share a border, and it's just a little community that divides the two. They were so close, and they conferred, and even though coming from two different traditional areas, there was that cohesion.
Honorable Shaibu Mahama and Ozenesambi Atuga Nature no so Honorable Dominic Ninti also the Sambi to go Richard says Sierra on him upon way from the one share no one ma asum Jimbo when Pessia do more yana hin some cuckoo non conformment Mwasibiaram famba or send no when I'm portas no yaza asum jeno no in his ankasa okronichi chains was one share that a masum jeno on Quadara on Peja one.
I rise to say a few kind words about the late Tolona. Mr. Speaker, it's not every human being that departs that people say kind words about that person. And so when we rise up on our feet to speak kindly of him, it is because he said to me anytime I went, Commander, I am the commander of the bank. I know he's a Muslim and a good Muslim too, because he was an Alhaji. And so I'm sure, as the God that created me, and for most of you, that he will be at the right hand of Allah and sitting there and looking at us. I am sure that he will be with his father at this time, because he was also a religious, traditional man. And for all of the Bang, and for all of Ghana, and for all of the North, I am sure that his replacement, his spirit will guide us to get a good replacement like him.
Mothers FM, yes, some pa.
Isaiah Kwetie, Honorable Dominic Nitiu, Northern Sam busy chattel.
Yan twan sam no so na yanko ensemfu from the Sacred Crown Awards mpanyin ayene se nyankopon eya adoma 31st October 2026 La Palm Royal Beach Hotel ena wode taso na sa award dwumadie no Gamanche King Taki Taikochuru a wotosemienu ne nsa ena ehyasie kwan ba kwa mofa so ede adan enkran amamre ne namane edi na afenso ebibrem amane ene yenjidie no omode ebeka eho asem impem bebre no yatoto ya amamre ase na King Taki Taikochuru se enya do ma kwan ma sa de na akoso nti sa award abase bebo enipa bi a omudi saa niema no ho dwuma no abaso na no so timi aboa ebe create awareness ama yehu say yenso ye woni niema papa bi ewo ebibrem
of the Ga Traditional Council of the Office of the Gamanche and of the Gamanche Foundation. It is supported by the COA group of companies whose CEO is Professor Duncan and Deputy CEO is Princess Duncan. It deals, and the reason why it was created is because of our African heritage, our spirituality and wellness. The Sacred Crown Awards was built to recognize people and institutions whose work promote and protect our African identity, strengthening of communities, improving our wellness, and it was also created by establishing social values within our social systems as Africans. It encapsulates three main pillars, which is our African identity or our African heritage. The second one is our spirituality as Africans. The third one is wellness.
Ken Taki Taikochuru na yatene nkano Gamanche no na board member Emma Sacred Crown Award Joyce Asantua Mills so echere se we platform kese pa ye bema emebro no so ehunu niama one cry ye gidie ene ya mamre na fe niama wodo nyakopon de ewura ye mu se talent no ye so etima dan na di
and I am men for the Edru Yaso Yaso Gamache, Esha, you were 24 May, wow, what did you how per se Sassy, what right here, Yanswa. Ebebrena di people be by area we as there's be akatasa papa it's 24 has any say yes so can you find say the moment you see the Gamanche to start the friend adofo nyina say omu nyina bra mesom na empanimfo a womo ekura omanmu anase omo nimdia omo de boa e papa no mo omo ten haban yasofo omo do omo sa anwini kente omo a omo pam ye ntare e de me ye Africa atare no sankofo nyina no Gamanche epese oyi omo nyina epie se yeso ye de to bibiara why you crowd to say obepese obeba be kana na ho na etonsa edifu
Joyce Asantua Mills na yetene kana ohima owo lante jan we manye na lamle ejeku dromo a otoso mienu eso ese ebre wiedru se bibrem yanka se be create awards na de abobo ye ho abaso ye ntwe so bi na bebo ye abaso ya nkasa ye mbo ye ho abaso o hwe osoma wodo ye wonkremo ye okristo som na nanom som ni nyina ye kwan bi efa so ebo ye amamre ene yamane ho ban.
I want to start with a question. When was the last time that Africa gave itself an award? awards. And I'm not here as a spectator. I'm here because as a Queen Mother of the Gas State, I know what it costs when the culture's brilliance goes undocumented. When the herbalist who saved a village, the elder who kept our history alive, did, or no one writing their names down. This crown says, not anymore. This platform recognizes responsibility and service, not denomination. That's a rare kind of maturity, and frankly, Africa needs more awards like these. Then there is wellness, because a continent can't build its future on a sick population. No, not. From hospital wards to herbal knowledge, passed down through generations, this pillar says both deserve a seat at the table. With standards, dignity. Now, why does this matter to Ghana specifically? Because we keep exposing our culture.
Manye na lamile aje kudromo awatoso mienu ena yetene kano na kasamafo ema awards no ora Enoch owusu kisi ninsembini.
Put into 3 honorary categories in terms of the awards. There's an honorary category, there's a recognition, and then there's a vote also category. That is how it's going to be done. The voting is part into these forms. And so we have 50% by professional work and impact, then 20% by stakeholders and board, and then 20% also by public voting, and then 10% is Royal Foundation and donations. All form parts of how one can be rewarded in the voting category. Now, in the honorary category, the board has decided that the people who are going to be honored are people who have excelled in their various fields of endeavor for almost about 4 decades and over. So, in the area of spirituality, wellness, and the creative arts and other areas where we have stipulated during the land, these are people who have already excelled in their areas over 4 decades. 4 decades means about 40 years and above, who have done their work. And then people who are also going to be recognized on the day are individuals who have built a strong and respected work across approximately over 20 years to 30 years. Their significant contribution to the Ghana state and to
Mothers FM. Yes, some pa.
Enoch owusu kisi na yetene nken.
Yeah, paying for Ghana man paying so pound don't copy mu obuasi mesi mobaya for me guzin to chair wotu or kwampado no boshene to major nada or copy so yaza for fear and to ata. When I'm drama Ghana man paying so I and sakrayaza for positions now 1 away from no woki tebino or yaza why you musa cray and when on am do mandedri and 1 hand over azamo bibiara or do to mojina position for Frubiara no. Former Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources Kenneth A.J. Gilbert in Pemprains or another money nara is Amma. Ahmed Ibrahim send the Sesia Okojina de Minister for Defense Ghana man paying His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na wa paunom no yaza embroz and yamanozema Ahmed Ibrahim so shende on share no on magana nyana ahunziezi on here no sende nyana da honsam insututa yeda honsam me flood na zamazama no on share no to monjina ye ankasa osende embro no position no share dem yama na botu me ejana nado from February 2025 kosi August 2026 into orishende on share no on fadin for so on famra mes mobaya on my Ghana so yebotumi afa hentampa efra okopede insuto another flood bisia yetumi yegina no na afesu yensu wonsama no so no ho kwatwe no onhwe na ni nara onye afesu project bia o ho a ohwe onkoye no so onhwe na ni nara ontum onkodo bit there Sagleme housing project no so onhwe na ni nara ontum okondo infaman.
To my successor once again, the Honorable Minister, I warmly welcome you. You are assuming responsibility of a ministry with enormous potential to contribute meaningfully to Ghana's development. I wish you wisdom, courage, and patience as you take up this important assignment. Chief Director, I'm going to miss you. Directors, heads of departments and agencies, and every member of staff for your dedication, professionalism, and support throughout my tenure. Whatever we've been able to accomplish has been through your collective efforts. As I keep saying, anytime I stand somewhere and they say Ministry of Works and Housing, I just thank all of you. Because the success, it wasn't about me, it was about you. I came in as a politician to just come and give direction. But me saying it is a different thing and you doing it is a different thing.
Ora Kenneth Gilbert AJ Northern Sambi Atuga on no so says Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources Oya Ahmed Ibrahim Southern Sambi Atuga Richard Obashe na Bibi Biara Ohia on my gun and we tum was that why Zabua Miss Mobaya. Hena can botum aquam yen shed on mine bit the Cote d'Ivoire and Miss Mawaka one boom. Why ye Jumasoma Bibi Biara tum concurrent was Obashe. Now was as one in Juma Miss Mobaya and Zamabia Hoyan and one my gun and Muhano we tum Ashama Bibi Biara so etum akodo wash aboso dem obeye adwuman Miss Moss and Miss Mobaya Ghana man paying so nanyi botum agi position no ozamo ho no so.
In the last 10 years I've built about 50,000 houses in Ghana from 2012 to date. We are building 5,000 and we can't. Even 1,500 we couldn't complete. What is wrong with us as a country? Too partisan, too parochial, too selfish. We need to eschew this, come together, and bury ourselves into the vision of the president. We will finish what stands uncompleted, and we'll be able to initiate something. If you go to Kenya, they are transforming their country. Go to Morocco, they are transforming their country. Neighboring Cote d'Ivoire, 50,000 houses. Me and you went to inspect it in Morocco, but I don't have group. What is wrong with us? 1,005, 10 years, 12 years, since 2012, we couldn't complete as a country. Where are the leaders of this country? We need to put our acts together. We need to reset this country. We need to have a national vision, not a partisan one. No matter what, it's 4 years. 20 months is gone. 1.5 years is gone. We only have 2.5 years.
Mothers FM, yes, some pa.
Ahmed Ibrahim Northern Sambi Atugore Shede Yen Shede and Zama Bebreo, why Yentum Yen ye Brown Pode Botum Ye Nanso Stella Yentum Yen Tibawa be your bottom Washema Bibi Biara so etum Aquancan Amahen.
Election Watch Ghana, Ayo Shubo Quensha Banya Sewing any D or my Ghana Yabato, and when some echi na or my frere, Shemu Kunini, Eshia, Edim Como, Afanity to vigilantism, Sama to Samoa, Yedira Yamano Semonano that 2019 near sea, Ayo, Ewa so West Wogon, Yenina, Yeniptia, near sea Mekobo Boss, Tron, Money, Adia, and waiting, Yadem Rebi by. Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019 Act 999. I know to say ye to abano be quiet home at sembu moi. Ye jail one kwakra nye 10 years and 15 years. And I feel Langard and sense mini na sesa emra wemu. Na Rose Austin, ono no ye Executive Director Emma Election Watch Ghana or say emra ne de ya show ni embisa say eye adwuma na still ye kwato aba me ye pa obisum me ye tutu na no 2024 kaswa tutuo kunipa free besi sabre ko anwene ne se ye investigation ye fa ye kwa ha okra na aton ne ye de ne saa ekwa enimu a na mra no ne sonfa so ene sen.
Political vigilantism and the effective enforcement of the law enacted to address it. 7 years after the enactment of the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019, Act 999, we are compelled as a nation committed to constitutional democracy to pause and ask a fundamental question. How effective has this law been in achieving the purpose for which Parliament enacted it? The passage of Act 999 represented a significant milestone in Ghana's democratic journey. It demonstrated a collective national resolve that political competition must never be allowed to degenerate into violence, intimidation, coercion, or establishment of partisan structures operating outside the lawful authority of the state. The law was in many respects a reaffirmation of a fundamental democratic principle. Political power must be acquired, exercised, contested for, and transferred through constitutional and peaceful means, not through force, intimidation, or organized political violence.
Rose Austin na yete ninkano. Enwechi Lieutenant Colonel Larry Gbevlo Latte, former National Security Coordinator, Okwejine Muma Chief of Staff Julius Debra Ekasaye, ena o kas election what for hadie pa somebody forum we so na ye di nkomo afa matwesemu a ye de rewra amanyosemu osese yanka ho asemu ne na ochina adechie ye jane sa ediasem ebebre ye nyina.
Years ago, Parliament passed the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019, Act 999, to address a growing threat to our constitutional order, the emergence and proliferation of non-state armed actors, especially political party vigilante groups. The enactment of Act 999 was a resounding statement that the state will not tolerate parallel security structures or organized intimidation in our political processes. As chairman of this occasion, I view today's dialogue not as an exercise in political recrimination, but as a vital civic audit. A law on paper is only as strong as its practical implementation, its institutional enforcement, and its ability to inspire public confidence. Democratic governance flourishes only where the rule of law is supreme and where political competition is conducted through ideas, persuasion, and ballot papers, never through force, weapons, or physical intimidation.
Mothers FM, yes, some pa.
Lieutenant Colonel Larry Gbevlo Latte ena yetinin kan ma yenyina we so na yentwa ye honje aboafo nkrato emra Juma isomwe
Edobe ko Kelele Claudine ye baby a say if one amfaze ze form na kwa baby biara oyaza abedemu stronko setam na pe kente na pe wedding gown African wear bubu bibi biara pe biara no Kelele Claudine ho na benya bibi biara ahye na baby biara bodro no so oyaza wan fama no bakasa ezamu wan ho fama no so ba hom tete baby abodro biara no na oyaza idemu stronko kra Kelele Claudine wo North Kaneshi Demon bus stop one or say a perhono so abotum afren one was 0541 849 257 another 0268 866 697 from one baby bia wo bia no when you benya sawo so na we tumu abo mes mo be ya baby bia bokɔ so ademu shronko ewo
Sanso ena Mares TV rescan no egusua ekoso se wunya ebie mu awadaroma ukofia ana se wo fie na wotie radio na mo ye rescan emma installers ne ba kiro mo se frequency no 12303 sample rate no 27500 polarization horizontal position 26 degree east dish no sana be position no Arabsat BADR8 Mares TV na yedim yenyina we so ntwen ho emra KASE state enso API yeba insempi wo ha yede beto amso
aha Kelele Claudine me mamwa kwaba ye ne yetimi ma wa ho ofedanso ewo wontade hyemu esan say ye wo fabrics asoto nyina bi wa ha African print Kelele Claudine die ye san so pam the show come on ye pam emane mema kaftan corset agbada emane mema die nyina embroidery bubu silk kaftan political suit nina ye pem bi wa ha ye kire kwan e wo North Kaneshi Demod bus stop ana wo dear friend e wo 0541 849 257 ana 0268 866 697
Adishmaima KASE3 Ghana Limited Ye Jumakubia Yesi Dine Ton Dine Eton Sase Krujia Mansubia ni ho Wuto yen Sasibia Ebeya wudia forever and ever Wabusia da chinti Enunti KASE3 say Tia 10% pay Na fe shasye Usi dino Na wuchane kakankakra KASE3 nkwane won sasi wa the whole Ghana Ye won sasi bi wa Greater Accra Baby to say Atoman, Kofi Donko, Imam Pehia, Danjra, Kaswa Obom, Dodowa, Kofi Kwe, Ayete Kote, Weja, Broadcaster, Annie Bebre, Sayako Central Region in Sua, Cape Coast, Ayensudo, J. Crodia, Portin, Gomwa Kwekrum, Yankwa Eastern Region, Ensawam, Kwasinyako, Afram Krum, Afayentufa, Nayanko Northern Region, you will be Watamale, Nyampala, and Sassono Bay, UDS Campus, and Watamale Kumasa Kwanso, yes, Sansu Executive Wanzo, the other Chromo Pair. Now, what Sansu Pair, Assassin Yantam, and the Ayakria and Efua, you will be with the whole Ghana, and on Tishu Chakwan, and with the main office, Accra, Tessano, Yani Ghana Telecom University, and our police training school, and a Dishanimu, Wakaswa Malam Quantum Ponoso, a month from Yani Resurrection, a sorry, a Dishanimu, now Yakwa Amasama Iswa, opposite the Central Marks, Wa Amasamaiwa, or Bakrowa office, no, I was site of Hope, Afe Ashaiman, Yani Lorry Station, no, and a Dishanimu, Frey 0302 963740, Ebim 0302 963740, KASE Estate Ghana Limited, Yanti Usubet Mia Sidai.
2.7 aboafo nkrato ekweji ye KASE Estate Ghana Limited sepensase papa ne buda for manso nyu wenchi biara nyi ho a ona KASE Estate Ghana Limited Barnaba Johnson say o nche biara no na wo so etum adan efiewura kelele clothing so sha wan kona epeda wan fama no osipi osita na ya ne zan da bokọ kelele clothing na betum wa show ema wan fama no esipi esita Ebakoda yeziwe ruanye nsem ne mu a oncheri biara baye ende ba asanye na gold board ho sensem obama no muduye ankasa Alexander Afenyo Kingdom kuma ho ne ba no denye obeka da oyaza gold board wa agbakaw ye ankasa IMF so wodi sika ba wa chere 1.2 billion so yaza akawda ho na owura samije mfi so hwe gold board no se kaw biara nyi ho we no nam do ema baye press conference no obeka kan nsem de Afenyo King oye blackmailer okaka nsem extortion tere nyama bebre no we no nam do ema ndom kuma so wase ye asema ai samejenfu aka no wonta ase enti sesi adam semi a wakaza fa Alexander Afenyo King ho no ombre no mbeyi ho na no sende APP member nyina wogine nachi da asem na wabaka no ombre mbeyi no ho ano biam so na nabo ache nsem mitu go rehede sesi ara no empanyfo so wonye ho ne sisi ye ankasa bibi biara anada sika kuma bi so bia ne nsa no hwe na wonye ne kama sesi ara no wogina Alexander Afenyo King nachi de nsema owura samejenfu ababaka fa no ombre no ombre mbeyi ano.
With the documents and answered them page by page, in good faith, he stood on government platform at the seat of the president himself at the Jubilee House, under series meant to promote transparency and accountability, and he used that platform to insult and vilify. He called the concerns of the elected representative of this country reckless. He called them bereft of facts and common sense. He called them barefaced liars before he had even finished laying out his facts. Ladies and gentlemen, that platform does not belong to Mr. Jamfi. It does not belong to NDC. It belongs to the presidency of the Republic of Ghana. It belongs to every Ghanaian. When a public officer takes the platform and uses it to insult and vilify the minority in parliament, instead of answering them, he does not disrespect one man, but the entire parliamentary group.
Henry Nanabwache in Northern Assembly Atuga Esha NPP man wenwa bri ankasa wakada and some wakaza for Nunya for Alexander Afenyo King on onche ye kra may fando ya menyo sembi kekena or yasma no yedru ye into when Nara was the Afenyo King she then some one share no one wants nas ones when bobo no one who biara or them or and then some wakanom on yan some tradam no yasma no yedru ye ankasa biam so nankasa or then some to go national organizers my NPP amenyoko office original the vice chairman zema NPP amenyoku o chere se siara no won hwe na hona sikasam ne hye won se biara no won tu monzi won bobo ye akasa owo awo ho mo $1 mpo etum efi won size na odem panyfo wotu monye wotena ho na woyem hyehyemu ye akasa chere se sia no wo so wen wada wo pefe once the import of ma wogina ho 50% of ma wogina won tin panyfo won hye na wo so wonyi nsa wo so wo 50% be fa won size bia mpo wada wotu monye mu ye hyehyem na nsam bia nso zo tu gwan
that the entire leadership of the New Patriotic Party, including the presidential candidate, we are fully behind the minority. On behalf of the entire New Patriotic Party, there is no confusion anywhere. We are fully behind the mighty minority. The New Patriotic Party stands fully, completely, and unreservedly behind our mighty minority caucus in Parliament, led by Honorable Alexander Afenyomakin. We wholeheartedly support each member of our minority caucus in this struggle. We back their questions, we back their scrutiny, we back their demand for full, transparent account of how a state institution charged with buying and protecting Ghana's gold ended up presiding over such huge losses of this magnitude.
Enza yekwe kwotie ye Henry Nana Boache nozine sembi atuga esha NPP fono wenwa abriye angasa wache dem penfo wonyem ansam ne munhwehwem pa osanne ensam a wakaza fo nyamfo Alexander Afenyomakin hunu onyensam track ke na oyasema no miedru nti oyaza obatena ase na wezi hu ebobo ye ankasa.
Hopefully he'll emerge as a winner because his message is simple: reunite, rebuild, and recapture power. Polafogo is the one who revived the party from opposition days, and it's just unfortunate. Some few months to election, he was suspended, but we know his works was what culminated in the 160.
Inza yekwe kwatie ye NPP mbani bi na wade wansam bi atuga wa hye de sesi ansam no ode wotumot na se obobo hu ye ankasa wosan na sama wa aka no nche de asama ononyafo sami jenfi oken no oyaza ohon wani ye ankasa na mmom no wafa na asam track keke wobetena se na wazi hu ebobo na sesi arempo no se wo hwe na se gold hu sensam anade ye ne sikasam no 50% import from odem payfo wotum wofra na wanyi payfo enyansa woso nti wo so wansam bi a wodi twa atu ni
Yamfa kase no kwa santima mu ne nkopie mu ewo bosomtwe mensire ne mu eho na assembly members no aka won ho abuma friends mtrofo nhia mu na enumo no ma chiro krata tintintin ya kwakodan asantema ntem so afo na afensu no so afo ohwe nkronkuma memu ne puntu sem so ne nyira kwowie se omu kire mu DC yawo bosomtwe mensire ne mu no eye honorable Hamidu Abdallah o disika nyafu ena afi so drip machine na yefa twetwa kwanchen fantretre monchimon kane ade no DC no e de adoma to so boni donkomi na ode ma han gisika na omusi da bi we de dondon afno tigare enti omosre se yewra mahama won hwe na DC mabosomtwe won ho no Ohonu every one ya de adwuma no obetimi aye na na kwesi asare nyansapo ono ena wanga wotro adesredie de kwada mampanyi no ono ena ediomanim oya assembly member ema akokofe electoral area
on in our district, which borders the relationship between our honorable DCE and the way or his modus operandi, which doesn't go well. It's inappropriate use of drip machines. The inner rows of almost all our 67 communities needs to be reshaped, but the honorable DCE is denying us this great opportunity. Meanwhile, when others pay cash to use the drip machines for their private purposes or for community pays cash to the assembly for its use, the machines are quickly released. Should an honorable assembly member request for street lights, the only answer he or she gets is it was not captured in the budget. They are about 9, and as we petition the President, His Excellency, to take him out of office or permit us to have a vote of no confidence against Honorable Engineer Hamidu Abdallah, the DCE for Bosomtwe.
Weye nana kwesi asare nyansapo ono na assembly members ayo bosomtwe a wo prese DC yo mainity no ono na di omanim na DC enso ede ne nsem atudwa honorable Hamidu Abdallah hrese nsem o mo kan emu ha hata se pepa enti ya mo antontwene.
The petition, this is just on the site.
the name mentioned here is not actually my name. Actually, it's what's wrong. So probably my assembly members even know the district chief executive they are working out. So friends from the media, this I believe is what has been leveled against me as a petition to get me out of the office by the assembly member for Akokofe. Let me put this on record. I have said this countless times that I, Engineer Hamid, I'm never afraid to lose political office.
Yes, Abo! Mothers FM!
Bosom Trim Rashabedweni Honorable Hamidu Abdallah na Yatinin King.
Yeni anum sa sebio wezi damne yaza wire workshop fefe na workshop is paying for wasn't when any Open Knowledge Ghana partnership with Internet Society Ghana chapter we na work where kasubombe be pmo jumezina say na ho na jumezina say paying for the sambiri to go watch there was abaindo oboshe na yen social media no mes mo be ya sebio yenu anum na we wan cheda ho aze papa no another one was one so wotum modusua aze no wonye bibi won famon mes mo be ya ho na azusua mu no another abefun tintemfrindo no kwano tum ayezan azama wana another no metum ayahahar zamon mes mo be ya jumezi biara wozi na etum akwankan oykosanya nyen da ma obey today won so ayaza yeja hone chibe oyedama na wana azusua na wesua no so wontum onye bibia on fanye na hone nso ade ho so ontum bam pa ma won into was shraba and the practicals no be more mes mo be ya hono so wona awehyem na nzama bia wopede wotum moye wozema won hono wetum aye izama won to was shred aban so on fanye nso ade ho ne yenua na wezidam no wontum wo hyehye nzama bi infama won da mes mo be ya wo so hona adesua no botum akwankanda ni den na izama hon.
Websites that have not been configured such that me using my speech softwares can access them easily. For instance, you go to a website, you are scrolling. It's supposed to read everything on the website so I know what it is I am experiencing. Except that for some websites, because they haven't been configured well, you have a situation where you are not able to experience the website the way you are supposed to. Let's say you even want to fill a form and submit it, and you are able to fill everything except that button that says submit has not been activated so that you can hear it and then activate submit to submit the form. You have been excluded.
Sayana susu inozana sembi atuga oneshe no so web developer inafe disability inclusion specialist Ephraim Tete no so ya azodin sembi to go chede ansa na obeye bibi otedam no oda wotum wonya stage bia anada yenuanom no baby akona botum wafa ansa na damadusua no po etum so aboa hwan.
By doing this project, for instance, it gives developers and the persons with disabilities themselves a chance to meet and see how best developers, who are the people who are creating these platforms, can give chance and get the necessary knowledge to make it possible for any PWD who's visiting their website to be able to utilize it.
Inside ye Ephraim Tete Northern Sambi Atuga Onetri so University of Ghana lecturer David Clote so the Sambi to go chade. The me nzame wababe na fi adesua was ahwe hona asebia wezi dam no so yaza bobo hon. Ema hona adwumezi bia wozi biara no so wetum watase na fe so hona obokire hona aze no so hona inso aze hona so etum ejinamu ama hon.
Very good and competent technical people here. Who are going to take them through something we call the web accessibility guidelines. These are guidelines that every website that is online should be able to follow so that a person with a disability can follow or have proper access to it.
Inza ye David Colette no Sambi Atugwa onetri so Dr. Maud Ajele Ashon Elliott or your president Zuma Internet Society Ghana chapter no so den Sambi to go chede sebio wona wezi dam no so yaza oda we na wotum won sheme friti asena.
Is that whilst we are doing this, we expect them to actively participate and also sort of identify some gaps that we might not have seen, which we could include when we are doing web development.
Inza ye Dr. Maud Ajele Eshon Elliott Northern Sambi Atuga so Elias Mani, digital rights focal person at the Commission on Human Rights so as in Sambi to Guanosi and Sama Ozichato.
On it's expedient and very important to interact at first and with lived experience from the disability community and the challenges that they go through accessing digital platforms.
Mothers FM, Yes, some pa.
Elias Mani, a digital focal person at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Oyas Rajanum, and also Otumozan some busy chat or cracker.
Yankwe na yemremu ewa pomudimu and somewhere. Ghana buying any sika 2 million euros edi free Germany in a European Union akachi. Ninyina ne se yade babe boa ama inro eye ewa memuno etimewie peye. Project in watche na haban edi sine ne so a wobabeye se yebeye inro a ebekwetia malaria mmoawa no ewo emofremu na afenso no yaye research edi afa ebibidro a yede kwetia hypertension prostate ene ensanom a ede ye liver problems eba no nyina no ebibidro akutia no ombe hwehwemu ede afa ho na eno na so afo ohwe ya pomode ho nsem so honorable kwamna minta akando ekire se sanhwehwemu no bebo so mo yehwehwemu ni wi a lab na fe omo de aba manufacturers omo friend ro no no mo so aye na aba bontin na nkwa se team be research na lab wa we se ba bontin na yenya so emfaso.
Recent global health emergencies and disruptions to international supply chains have demonstrated that local production is no longer merely an industrial aspiration. It is a national health security imperative. Ghana must have the capacity to meet a meaningful share of its essential health needs and withstand external shocks. This is what health sovereignty requires.
Ania etwegu ye so afo hwe apom de honsem so honorable kwabna minta akando na Dr. Soji Tete or Chief Executive Officer Emma National Vaccine Institute also kase o hwe sani ade edru na enimdefo abene ewo nufremu ya wonso wo pharmaceuticals ne ade ne ba be kan bom aye se adwuma na edru ne ye ne Ghana he ya ye na ye de ye hu adru wie na ebika
Also, the National Vaccine Institute recently completed a nationwide vaccine perception survey. And in that survey, what we found was that only 15% of Ghanaians know about our plans to manufacture vaccines and pharmaceuticals locally. 85% of Ghanaians have no idea about it. Not that they resist, but they just don't know. And 71% of Ghanaians are ready to accept locally manufactured vaccines. And this is informing the decision of the board and management and staff of NVI to roll out a national vaccine campaign. This will happen maybe next month. We'll roll it out.
Dr. Soji Tete ena yatin in Kano National Vaccine Institute ona odano na Germany ambassador yo memu Frederick Lansoft and so edit to just says our partnership and also bebuapa ama inra pese yen wo memu no ewie peye.
Bahama has set an ambitious goal for Ghana to dramatically expand local pharmaceutical production over the coming years. And Ghana is putting serious resources behind that ambition, including the $50 million committed to the National Vaccine Institute. You can begin to see the outlines of something bigger. A scientific discovery made in Ghanaian laboratory, developed together with a Ghanaian company, produced in a Ghanaian factory, used in a hospital in Accra, Tamale, or Bolgatanga. And one day exported from Ghana to patients across West Africa. That is what becoming a pharmaceutical hub can mean.
Radio Money now Baatan, Mothers 102.7 FM.
Germany anamusini awo omaimu His Excellency Frederick Lansoft ena yatinin king.
IMF or International Monetary Fund one and them seniors my Ghana Dr. Adrian Ortad and Sambi at Gorichede. In Casa Good Board Nankasa Quajibosa Busano Tumwazi and to Triana to Trini and to Mensia. In Corda Good Board Nankasana what to more from Wanaka was a Bonabo Nash Bone the Bank of Ghana and our Quaji Abonabona Chede Ocean Hubiera Onye no way na Dr. Adrian Orta and then Sambi to Gorichede when on Amaduma de Biabonda Coast Road or Minor and on Mino Onyan Huchebiara and no ho this year anka good board na nsa zaka wo tum ze fa bonabo na Bank of Ghana ze montum onkofa mes mo ba ya da biara no na oje ne ho ja onche ne sam bia ozutu gwani.
Okay, so the financial sector in Ghana is much stronger than in the midst of the crisis, you know. So capital and profitability have improved markedly. However, as you can see in our report, there is heterogeneity across banks. So there are state-owned banks and private domestic banks that have lower capital ratios, for instance. Now, when you look at credit growth, this has been trending upwards for the past 6 to 12 months, and it reached almost 40% private credit growth year on year at the end of June 2026. Now, one key
Dr. Andrai Ota no zene sambi asuga biem so osanso zene sambi chatu o chede yen chede abanyen sensiara obado Ghana mapen His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wotoka obebre nanso oyaza nankasa oyo batampa na yemi yeso do so manembenti watna se ebubuka na totoka no wacheche ka onu mu maka onu bi afi ho e ma sesi aka onu yen kan ka obiem o se no oyaza ye kuma bi ento oyaza obogana mapen na bado chede sensiara no wayazi ye ankasa.
Will focus on the revenue mobilization, domestic revenue mobilization, because this will create fiscal space durable and will allow development spending for the government and social spending as well. The transition from the ECF to PCI basically will try to address this issue. And the focus there will be primarily on the improving the systems for the domestic revenue administration for the GRA. So ITAS rollout is one of the main, I would say, reforms, the integrated tax administration system, which allows the GRA to run risk-based analytics. The other sources would be to close the VAT gap, which is more than 50%.
Mothers FM, yes, some pa.
Inza ye Dr. Andrai Ota no azanan sambi atugari chede sesiara no Ghana mapen His Excellency John Dramani Mahama oyaza yamonu mo apia o papa no wayazi ye ankasa osan na yenhye ekawa na abandada wo otodo no abandada wo na otodo na kawa no da won nyaka kakraba papa so be no oyaza wetum atutu ni ye mesesi akawo no efu meso won frɛ ne kawo bi kawo na ayeka kawo no won frɛ ne kawo bi osan na kawo no oyaza ekitibi enti aha ena yazi hensam ni nara bebe si na me amezika se boy bosomo ezina me juda ye juma ida osamene
Ejaminta yadama se sabre bompa to bompa beto aso
Tinkwane won sasi wo the whole Ghana. Ya won sasi bi wo Greater Accra.